We've all heard of the Curse of the Black Pearl, but these curses are a bit more terrifying. And dare I say, a bit more real. Yeah, welcome back to Most Amazing. Here are the top 10 ancient curses that you don't want to get. Kicking off the list at number 10, the Knight Templar Curse. Some of these curses are still around today, we just don't realize it. Friday the 13th, aside from being a slasher franchise, is a date, an unlucky one that often sneaks back up on us. Every now and then somebody in the office will go, oh my god, it's Friday the 13th next week, and then 3 others will be like, really? It's scary, you can't help it, it's just a creepy vibe, especially in October. And it all starts back in the early 14th century when King Philip of France didn't want to pay back the Knights Templar when they funded his war against the English. So he sent a surprise attack and wiped out everybody. That's how you handle things back in the day, you just kill them all. That's horrible. This attack happened, you guessed it, on Friday, October 13th, 1307. The leader of the Knights was beaten for years, just horribly abused. And before he was burned at the stake, the leader, Jacques de Molay, cursed the Pope and the house. Then within a year, both the Pope and King Philip both died in mysterious ways. And then King Philip's 3 sons all died as well over the next couple of years, forcing the French crown to go to the House Valois, officially ending the reign of House Capet. It's a hard curse right off the bat. I'm like, that's pretty, it gets worse, believe it or not. Number 9, the Bjorketorp runestone curse. From knights to runestones already, we don't waste any time here on MA. The Bjorketorp runestone curse comes from Scandinavia. These historic runestones have different texts and we think curses were engraved into them. How fun is this? One of the more popular ones is the Bjorketorp runestone in Sweden. It comes from the 6th century, it's 14 feet tall as well, so when I say stone, I mean along the lines of Stonehenge, not like an infinity stone. It's quite large. On one side of the stone is the phrase, I see perdition, and on the other side there's a script that explains how powerful the creator of the rune is, and if that anybody disturbs or breaks the stone, destruction and death will soon follow. Neat! The stone isn't broken yet, but do you think we'd be cursed if something were to happen? Do we want to find out? Let us know your thoughts down below. Number 8. King Tut's Curse. I don't know how many movies we need to watch, but can we just not open up any more tombs? Ever? Like, we don't need to find them all, these aren't Pokemon. Let people that are dead chill. They're dead, let them be dead. Back in 1923, a British archaeological team opened up the tomb of King Tut, the Egyptian pharaoh from the 14th century. Now cut to a couple months later, the team's sponsor passes away due to a bacterial infection. So newspapers, being the news and all, said that he passed away due to King Tut's curse. Imagine seeing a mummy curse in the newspaper. You'd be like, okay, this is real, I guess? We have aliens on the news now, so who knows? But afterwards, it got even worse. Howard Carter's archaeology team, over the next few years, the team experienced fires, floods, even deaths, just the worst luck of all. Many to this day still blame the curse of King Tut. Even after being dead for that long, imagine the world blaming you for a curse. Like, hey man, sorry I died. I'm not an evil curse totem. I'm literally just lying there. Like, look how we are at funerals. Think of how we walk and talk and act near the body of somebody who passed away in a funeral, and then check this out. Imagine coming back to life, that's the first thing you see. You're on TikTok, great. Mummy comes back to life, he's just a boomerang. Number 7, Hope Diamond Curse. A curse involving a diamond. Finally, now we're talking. The Hope Diamond Curse comes from the 1660s when a gem dealer named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier bought this large diamond when visiting India. The origins of the diamond were unknown, but it didn't matter. This beauty was just sitting there, so he had to buy it. Sounds believable, right? We'll see. Well, later on, after Tavernier got the diamond, rumors were flying all throughout Europe and the United States that Tavernier actually stole the diamond from a statue of a Hindu goddess. What a thief. A little different than his story, that's for sure. Again, the news took this one themselves and they published the Hope Diamond as an ancient curse. That's how we see it now. The diamond at one point ended up in the hands of King Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette. Now, if you don't know about them, they were beheaded during the French Revolution. The stone then went to Lord Francis Hope come 1839, that's where the new name comes from, and by that point it was deemed cursed. For sure, this is when it got the cursed Hope Diamond alias. This is when it all started to kick into gear. Because they ended up selling the diamond shortly after being reduced to poverty. And then Evelyn Walsh McLean bought the stone in 1912. Shortly after, her son was killed in a car accident. When the stone was then delivered to its final and current home, the Smithsonian, back in 1958, the driver delivering the package was hit by a truck after. Now, he survived, but his wife and dog passed away shortly after, and his house caught fire later too. Moral of the story is, maybe just don't steal diamonds, or buy diamonds. Both are really not great. Number 6, Shivas Curse. Going back to 4th century ancient Hindu texts when Brahma and Vishnu were getting off on the wrong foot, the deities were arguing which of the two were more powerful, so Shiva appeared and asked the two deities to measure the true length of the Inga. Whoever did this the fastest was awarded with the title of most powerful deity. Vishnu realized that this was a test because Shiva's omnipotence and power could never be measured, right? Makes sense. Brahma, however, lied to Shiva, saying that he had found both ends of the linga. He lied, so Shiva cursed him so that nobody would ever worship him. And even today, there are no Hindu holidays for Brahma. So perhaps it worked. Perhaps it was for the best. Number 5, the broken mirror curse. Okay, I mentioned Friday the 13th, so we might as well dive into some ancient Roman curses to figure out the origins of the whole broken mirror thing. We've all heard it at some point that if you break a mirror, you guessed it, 7 years of bad luck. Ancient Romans believed that the human soul would renew every 7 years. That's where the whole 7-year thing comes into play. It takes time to repair the soul, I get it. Combined with the belief that mirrors, reflections, was also a way into the soul, now, plus years of broken telephone, we have a curse. There's honestly too many mirrors now. This is way too many options to get cursed. I'm sure ancient Romans had no idea what 2021 would look like. We have phone cases with mirrors on them. May the odds be ever in your favor. Number 4, Polish King's Curse. Back in April 1931, in a crypt in Vilnius, ancient Polish queens and kings were found. They were found with their crown still, and this was a royal burial for sure. Described by those involved as the discovery of the century, no doubt about it, Polish researchers didn't even know what they were in for yet. A storm had flooded a cathedral in Vilnius, so they threw down sandbags to preserve the area as best as they can, but on the night of April 25th, the water won this battle and the chambers were then flooded. They followed the water down and they found the lost remains of the Polish kings and queens from the 15th century. Out of place and messy, these remains were definitely royal, nonetheless. Now after these discoveries, that's when things get mysterious. That's when talks of a curse began. Those involved in those findings began to die in unusual circumstances. Professors were falling down lift shafts, having undisclosed medical issues. One professor even became paralyzed right after. A sculptor involved in the process died while he was untying his shoelace, so it was that sort of stuff, some Final Destination stuff. Even if you try and protect the remains of lost kings and queens, even if you're involved in any case, the curse will still get you. They were trying to help. That's sad stuff. Number 3, the Curse of La Llorona. We'll include some modern horror into this list. After all, those movies had to come from somewhere, like the Friday the 13th franchise. The origins of this curse go back hundreds of years from Spanish folklore. The story, if you haven't seen the movie or anything, is that a young woman named Maria married and had children with a rich man, but over the course of a few years, the marriage started to go south. Maria didn't end up loving him as much anymore, and then Maria saw her husband, that man, and her children with another woman, and it threw her over the edge, figuratively and literally. She jumped into the river and drowned herself, and now she's set to haunt any riverbanks or something looking for her kids. So have you heard of this? You definitely heard of it. Some people on Reddit have experienced this, so it's maybe a little bit too modern, but I had to throw it in. Number 2, Chicago Cubs Curse. Before we get to our number 1 spot, I had to throw in this modern curse because it's too good to ignore. The Chicago Cubs curse comes from 1945 when a man named Bill Sionis, nicknamed Billy Goat, was kicked out of a Chicago Cubs game. He actually didn't even get into Game 4 to begin with. Was he too intoxicated, did you ask? No, he actually brought in a live pet with him. He brought in a live goat. Yeah, Bill brought with him his pet goat for good luck, so after the staff of course said, no, you can't enter the 1945 World Series with a live goat named Bill, get out of here. After that, he cursed the club over and over on the way out, saying that the Cubs ain't gonna win no more. And that was the game that they dropped the ball. The Detroit Tigers won and the curse of the Billy Goat kicked off. There's also the Madden curse too. I'm not sure if you heard of that. It's where whoever is on the cover of the EA Sports gaming franchise, they usually end up having a terrible year, either professionally or personally, being involved in scandals. Modern curses, they're everywhere, you just gotta avoid them. Just walk around like this and plug your ears. And finally, number 1, the Macbeth Curse. Yes, all you theater kids out there, you know about this one. I felt dirty just typing this one up. There's a few things you can't say to an actor before a show. Oddly enough, saying good luck is one of them. You're supposed to say break a leg. Yet you wish them the opposite really of what you want. The legend goes back to 1606, the time of the play's first performance. The actor playing Lady Macbeth died apparently right before the show, so Shakespeare had to play the part himself. Apparently a coven of witches also cursed the show beforehand, and since then there's been tales of real daggers being used in the show accidentally instead of props. The Astor Place riot in New York back in 1849 was caused by rival actors, the American Edwin Forrest and English William Charles Macready. Many people lost their lives, over 100 were injured, and both actors just happened to be in different productions playing, you guessed it, Macbeth. There's also countless amounts of stories recalling botched performances of the play, but what do you think? Is this the case of being in your own head, or is the Macbeth Curse really real? One time I said Macbeth before a show in grade 11, I was doing Amadeus, and then halfway through I realized I wasn't wearing shoes in a scene. I forgot shoes during a quick change, and it's all because I said Macbeth. I know it. Or because I was just nervous, one of the two. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Most Amazing Top 10. Those are just some ancient curses. If a part 2 is in your deepest desires, don't curse us, hit that thumbs up, and let us know in the comments. You've been amazing. I'm Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time. Peace. That if you break a mirror, you guessed it, 7 years of bad luck. I don't know why I did this like it's Blue's Clues, but I'm like, what do you get? You bet. Got it. The Bjorketorp rune, the Bjorketorp. It sounds silly, but that's what it's called. Vishnu realized that this was a test because Shiva's omnipotence. Vishnu realized that this was a test because Shiva's omnipotence and power could never be measured, right? Omnipotence, omnipotence. I keep saying omnipotence because that's what Eminem says in a song.